Okay, the next step is to create the draft guiding questions and to finalize the KDUs. You'll be using the template for this, which is Appendix 4 of Chapter 8. And this is an example I'm using here. Plus, there's a middle school example in Figure 8.8a and b in the second edition. The first step is to go back and look at the theme chunking and those questions there. In my theme chunking, I had a category about energy transfer and capture. And under that, I had 5 draft questions. You'll notice here that I have revised those and ended up condensing it down to 3 guiding questions. And then my next step is to put the KDUs on this document. I'm pulling these from the theme chunking and the original scope, and then doing any necessary revision and refining of them, making improvements, eliminating duplicates, or even narrowing or broadening the scope of the content for the unit as I continue to build it. Remember, this is an iterative process, so you are continually revising as you go. So what I've done then is I figured out, okay, the first half of my unit is going to have 3 guiding questions. And then by answering those questions, students will complete or become proficient with all the KDUs listed on this document. In other words, to answer these guiding questions, they have to know, do, and understand all the KDUs. So we can now start to see the shape of the scope and the sequence of the content mastery for this unit. You'll notice that there is not a place for the sub-thematic question. This document is to help us place the scope and the sequence of the content under the correct questions, which will help us eventually create a coherent sequence of lessons. And we don't need the sub-thematic questions on this document to do that. The sub-thematic questions, assuming you even have them in your unit, will be listed on the first page of the next step, the final scope and sequence document. So now I have half my unit content aligned to guiding questions. And then the next page is the rest of the unit. So now you see I went from 8 potential guiding questions on the original theme chunking down to, again, 3 guiding questions. I wasn't aiming for 3. It wasn't like I was trying to keep them symmetrical, the 2 halves of the unit. That's just how it worked out. But I took those original theme chunking questions and narrowed it down. And so I've really revised it, combining the questions. And again, then I pull KDUs from the previous steps, do any refining to get all the KDUs aligned to the guiding questions. So now I have the second half of the unit aligned to the guiding questions. So at the completion of this step, I have now created a scope and sequence for the content for the unit. I haven't done anything with lessons yet or how I'm going to get there. The last step is to organize the final scope and sequence and then begin planning out, okay, how will students actually learn this content, and then how will I know they have learned it?